And what I'd like to show you is Cinebench running live. What we see is Ryzen 7 1800X on the right, going head-to-head against Intel 6900K. And as you guys know, we're rendering one of these complex 3D models, and we're watching to see which one of these finishes faster. We have a couple more seconds to go. It's tight, but you can see as this completes, the 1800X finishes faster than the 6900 by about 9%. So this actually says, I can say today, that the Ryzen 7 1800X is the fastest 8-core desktop processor in the market. Today is all about Ryzen.
AMD Ryzen has been the crutch that many of fanboys have been leaning on for their arguments against Intel in the desktop PC market. AMD announced the first of its enthusiast desktop processors called Ryzen. Across multiple benchmarks showcased at the Ryzen Tech Day event, we saw the flagship Ryzen 7 1800X from AMD beating the Intel Core i7 6900K in multi-threaded applications. Ever since we started hearing about Ryzen, AMD has been going on about a 40% increase in instructions per clock, IPC, and today we saw that they'd gone well past that goal to hit 52%.
We not only beat the goal, we beat it by a lot. The Ryzen performance in instructions per clock is over 52%.
In case you're wondering, such a leap between sequential architecture is unheard of, as most generations can only manage between 5 to 10%. So how good are the new processors? Let's start with the Ryzen 7 1800X, which is an 8-core 16-thread CPU. Clocked at 3.6 GHz with a boost clock going all the way up to 4 GHz and a little extra wiggle room where the CPU hits 4.1 GHz thanks to XFR, Extended Frequency Range. In the demo showcased at the event where the Ryzen 1800X was compared to the Intel 7700K and 6900K, the Ryzen 7 1800X scored 1612 in Cinebench R15, while the 6900K scored 1472 and the 7700K scored 960. Similarly, the Ryzen 7 CPUs were shown to have a lead in other multi-threaded applications like video encoding, during live streaming, and heavily populated Excel sheets. Next in line after the 1800X is the Ryzen 1700X, which has been pegged as a direct competitor to the Intel 7700K. It has a base clock of 3.4 GHz and a boost clock of 3.8 GHz. And lastly, we saw the Ryzen 7 1700, which is also an 8-core 16-thread CPU with a base clock of 3 GHz and boost clock of 3.7 GHz. Every Ryzen CPU is unlocked, which means you can get a Ryzen 7 1700 and overclock it all the way to 3.4 GHz and potentially equal the Ryzen 1700X in performance. And they're all going to be using the AM4 socket. All these Ryzen 7 CPUs will be up for pre-order from February 22nd and will start shipping on March 2nd. Off-the-shelf purchases are also to begin on March 2nd, 2017. Coming to the pricing, Indian pricing for the Ryzen processor is finally in tune with global pricings.
Our competition is priced at $1,000. AMD Ryzen, $499.
The Ryzen 7 1800X is priced at 37,999 rupees, the Ryzen 7 1700X is priced at 29,499 rupees, and the Ryzen 7 1700 is priced at 24,499 rupees. Thank you for tuning in, and for more videos like this one, you can subscribe to the Digit YouTube channel. We will catch you in another video.